At 9 in the morning, Elena's phone vibrates with incoming emails. She quickly scans through them and finds the one she has been anticipating. André Ferreira has confirmed their meeting at 4 o'clock at the high school. 15 minutes before the set time, Elena enters the high school. A staff member points toward the teacher's lounge, indicating where Mr. Ferreira can be found. Elena and Mr. Ferreira settle into a modest room designed for parent-teacher conferences.
Mr. Ferreira, thank you very much for giving me some of your time.
I must admit, I'm curious. Why would a professor of your standing, according to the internet, want to meet a humble Portuguese literature and English high school teacher? How may I assist you?
I'll get straight to the point. A few years ago, my department posted a test online to identify individuals with a particular talent for languages. For the first time, someone has successfully completed it.
Are you suggesting that one of my students passed a test from your university and is the first to do so?
Not exactly, Mr. Ferreira. I apologize for the confusion, but it was your daughter who completed the test.
André, now unsettled.
My daughter, Leticia? Granted, she's intelligent and knows English well, but she's no linguistic genius. I think you're mistaken. I'm sorry you have been wasting your time.
I don't believe I am. I have traveled this far to meet your daughter, with your permission, of course.
We'll see. I'll discuss this with my wife and Leticia. But I still think you're mistaken.
Has Leticia shown any interest in ancient languages or foreign languages recently? She pulls a business card and her phone from her purse. This is my local phone number. I would deeply appreciate it if we could arrange a meeting.
She slides the card across the table.
Before we part ways, may I be so bold as to ask you a question? Your Portuguese is good, but it sounds as if it's coming from a classical book.
That's the downside of learning a language from books and not practicing. I realize my Portuguese may be slightly off.
Learning from books is impressive. I'll give you my answer in a few days. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for your time.
After responding to various emails and explaining her sudden absence to the faculty dean, Elena waits for a reply from Mr. Ferreira. To pass the time, she heads to the Biblioteca do Estado de São Paulo to research native Amazonian tribes. The next day, she ventures into a setting quite uncharacteristic for a woman of her standing, a traditional market. Elena navigates the crowded aisles of the bustling local market, her eyes scanning stalls filled with an assortment of outdoor gear. The air fills with the aroma of street food and the rapid exchanges in Portuguese between vendors and customers. She pauses at a stall overflowing with essentials machetes, backpacks, mosquito net, waterproof ponchos, and insect repellents. A brief haggle with the vendor, and she has what she needs. Elena feels a different kind of exhilaration here than in the academic world she is so familiar with. Resourceful and fearless, she is unfazed by stepping into unfamiliar territory. She knows some truths can only be discovered off the beaten path. As she walks back to hail a taxi, her purse buzzes. A text message says she has been invited for tea at 4:30 this Saturday. She smiles and thinks, tomorrow it is. Elena is being served tea by Mrs. Ferreira.
Do you require sugar? Yes, please.
We have been talking with Leticia about the internet test she completed. Leticia told us she got lucky answering those questions. My wife and I are a bit troubled by some of Leticia's behavior lately. Your sudden appearance has left us wondering about the entire situation.
The test we devised is statistically unlikely to be cracked by sheer luck. It demands particular skills. As far as I know, including your daughter, only 4 people have been able to solve it. Maybe it is luck, no matter how improbable. That's why I would like to talk to Leticia. It should be very easy and straightforward to see if Leticia has the gift. What exactly are we discussing? Nothing out of the ordinary. Just a 15-minute talk, privately, would shed light on how she was able to solve the puzzles.
Suppose she does have these skills, what then?
As I've said, such abilities are exceedingly rare. If she possesses them, I'd like to invite her to Boston for advanced education. I'll ensure she completes her high school curriculum. She would be able to enter Boston University in my department if she wishes, or I could arrange for any faculty she is interested in. Most importantly, I will personally guide her in honing these unique skills.
Your unsolicited offer, though tempting, does raise some eyebrows. I took the liberty of confirming your identity and credentials with the dean of your faculty, Thaddeus Morrison, I believe, and he confirmed your identity and current location. I have to apologize in advance for saying this, but I remain skeptical.
I completely understand your position, which is why I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
There is also the cost of such an endeavor. My wife and I are public servants. I am well aware of the cost of education in the USA and the living cost. I don't think we can afford that.
If she qualifies, all costs will be taken care of by the mansion. This is a non-profit organization specialized in promoting people like your daughter. The mansion is also where we reside. Leticia would be welcome there, and I would be able to watch over her. You mentioned other people, other skilled people like yourself, I think. Correct. Currently, 3 of us reside at the mansion, fluent in multiple languages, ancient and modern. This collective expertise allows us a comfortable and productive coexistence.
Leticia enters the apartment, and Mrs. Ferreira rises to scold her for her tardiness. As Leticia joins them,
"Hello, madam. I am sorry for being late."
then catching sight of Elena,
"You're the woman who followed me at school."
the news shocks Leticia's parents. André rises to stand next to Leticia.
Would you care to explain?
Yes, this is true. I have been looking for your daughter, and I got some information that she could be at this high school. I am terribly sorry, but I had to find you and talk to you. I sincerely apologize if I scared you in any way. That was not my intention. Meeting you is that important to me, sorry.
The family sits at the table again.
Young Leticia, my name is Elena Harris. I am a full professor in the Faculty of Linguistics at Boston University. As I said to your parents, I am fluent in several languages, ranging from English to Arabic to Japanese, but my focus is more on dead languages like Latin, Egyptian, Akkadian, Classical Greek, Mayan, and more. As discussed with your parents, since you solved this incredibly hard puzzle, I believe you might have special abilities that allow you to learn languages very fast, just like my friends and I do. Your parents and I have already discussed my reason for being here. If possible, I would like to spend some alone time with Leticia. I think she'll feel less stressed if it's just us.
André studies his wife's body language.
Leticia, you don't have to do this if you don't want to.
No, that's okay.
We'll be in the kitchen.
He says before the couple exits the room.
How old are you, child?
13.
Are you doing okay? Having any nightmares?
Sometimes.
She says, visibly uncomfortable.
What are your nightmares about?
Stuff, bad stuff.
Do you see suffering and horrible things happening to people and to you in unfamiliar places?
Leticia nods in agreement.
When did all of this start?
A few months ago.
When these nightmares started, did something else happen to you? Did you get injured?
Elena pauses, waiting for a sign.
Or maybe something more personal happened to you, something that young girls your age experience?
Leticia nods again in acknowledgement.
This is completely normal. Your mother might not understand what's happening to you, but I think I do. I have been through the same thing you are going through right now.
Elena retrieves a notepad and pencil from her purse.
Mind if we do a quick test?
Leticia shrugs.
I'm going to draw something, and I'd like you to say the first thing that comes to mind. Can you do that for me?
Elena sketches a series of hieroglyphs: a feather, a square shell, an eagle, a chick, joined bones, a jar, another feather, a snail, then a half circle.
It may look like Egyptian, but it's not. What is the first thing that comes to mind when you look at this?
Leticia shakes her head.
And this?
Elena writes a line in Arabic.
Still nothing? How about these?
She writes additional lines in ancient Greek and a script resembling Chinese. Leticia continues to shake her head.
Don't think, just tell me the first thing that comes to your mind.
Elevating her voice.
What do you see? What do you see, Leticia? Tell me.
Leticia, teetering on the edge of panic, blurts out,
I have the gift! I have the gift!
just as her parents re-enter the room.
What's happening here?
Sophia rushes over to console her daughter. Elena leans back in her chair. After a few seconds, composed,
I can help Leticia. She is a very special child. She will face challenges ahead. She is on a rare path that very few people have experienced. As her parents, I know you believe you can shield her from what is coming.
Elena gathering her things and preparing to leave.
Mr. and Mrs. Ferreira, you have a crucial choice ahead. Discuss it as a family. I won't interfere further for now.
André remains speechless.
I'll be in São Paulo for a few more days. You have my contact information. Please, consider what I've told you. I only want what's best for your daughter. The sooner you make a decision, the better for her. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.
2 days later, Elena receives an unexpected email from Leticia, who politely inquires if they could meet. Delighted, Elena promptly agrees, and Leticia suggests they meet after class. Waiting across the street, Elena watches Leticia say goodbye to a friend before approaching Elena somewhat timidly.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Harris.
Good afternoon, Leticia, pausing briefly. Please, call me Elena. I assume you want to talk.
Yes, Mrs. Har. Elena.
Firstly, how are you? Are you experiencing nightmares, visions, or any unexplainable phenomena?
Not right now.
Would you like me to walk you home? Are you sure this won't be a problem with your parents if we talk?
Yes.
The two begin to stroll, making the most of the pleasant day.
Is this your first time in São Paulo?
Yes, it is.
How do you find it?
This is a huge city with so much diversity and a lot to see, great food, including some charming parks.
Their conversation mostly revolves around everyday matters, an attempt to better understand one another. Noticing a park up ahead, Leticia says,
If you enjoy parks, this one is quite nice. Is it all right if this extends our walk?
I'd love that.
While it's not the best park she's seen in the city, Elena feels that at this moment there's nowhere else she'd rather be. For some inexplicable reason, she finds herself growing increasingly fond of Leticia. She senses Leticia becoming more at ease, gradually opening up to her, and Elena feels that she could become a trusted confidant for the girl. Exiting the park, Elena asks,
Leticia, do you like ice cream? Would you like some?
Leticia's face lights up.
Of course, I do.
Know of a good place nearby?
Yes, there's one not far from here.
Very well, lead the way.
After a few minutes, Leticia asks,
Is it true that you can speak many languages?
Yes, that's true. I am a linguistics professor.
Can you speak Italian, Spanish, French, Chinese, Indian, Russian, African, and Japanese? Can you speak Japanese?
Japanese is one of my areas of expertise.
Really? I love reading manga. I wish one day I'll be able to read them in Japanese.
One day, I'm sure you will.
Leticia abruptly halts.
Prove it.
Prove what?
Prove that you can speak Japanese.
Very well, young lady. What would you like me to say in Japanese?
Not to me, I won't understand it.
So what should we do?
I have an idea. There's this Japanese fast food place on the way, and the owners are real Japanese. How about we go there, and you only speak Japanese with them?
Elena smiles, amused by Leticia's playful challenge.
Do you like Japanese food?
I love Japanese food.
How about we get some sushi and sashimi instead of ice cream?
Well played, young lady. I have to admit, I'm starving. I skipped lunch today.
Leticia picking up the pace.
This way.
Before stepping into the restaurant, Elena takes Leticia by the shoulders.
I'll speak Japanese to the staff, but we should converse in English to avoid making them uncomfortable.
No problem, whatever. Your Portuguese is weird.
She says, rushing into the restaurant. Elena shakes her head, smiling even more. With the restaurant empty, Leticia and Elena approach the counter and greet the staff.
Hola.
In English, Elena turns to Leticia.
What would you like to order?
Leticia scans the large menu board hanging behind the counter, also replying in English.
I'd like to get a number 4, an 8, and a 17. Actually, let's make that 2 number 17s, please.
Elena asks,
What would you like to drink?
Diet Coke.
Leticia responds. Switching to fluent, respectful Japanese, Elena relays the order to the waiter.
Could we please have a number 4, a number 8, and 2 number 17s? Additionally, 2 number 7s, 1 number 15, and 1 more number 17. For drinks, we'd like a diet cola. Is it possible to also have Jamaica?
The waiter, visibly impressed by Elena's eloquent use of Japanese, regains his composure and replies,
Understood?
echoing back the order for confirmation.
Your command of Japanese is remarkable. Allow me to prepare genmaicha from our exclusive reserve for you.
Swiftly, he clears a small table in a secluded corner, gestures with a bow for the two to take their seats, and pulls out chairs for both of them. After a reciprocal bow from Elena, he heads to the kitchen, announcing,
We have esteemed guests today. Give special attention to this order.
Elena and Leticia share a knowing smile.
Elena, what is this gift you keep mentioning? And why do you think so few people have it?
The gift you have, to put it simply, is the ability to learn most languages very quickly. It might come to you as something you already know deep down without understanding why, but you can feel it in your gut. I don't think I've met more than 10 people with this ability so far, but I don't know where it comes from.
Are your friends like you?
If by that you mean my housemates in the mansion, then yes, we share this linguistic ability. However, our professional backgrounds are quite diverse.
The waiter brings the drinks.
If I may ask, where did you learn Japanese?
I learned Japanese in Yamagata Prefecture for several years before moving to Tokyo to further my studies.
Enjoy your tea. I'll return shortly with your food.
I love listening to you speak Japanese.
How is your English?
Having an English teacher for a father gave me a head start. I felt my English was good enough to navigate most situations. Recently, however, I've noticed that when watching documentaries with my father, I no longer need the subtitles. English has become second nature to me. Is this the gift you mentioned?
Very likely. You also were able to read an ancient Egyptian alphabet.
You told me that wasn't the case.
That was merely an English sentence transcribed into Egyptian hieroglyphs. If you were able to read ancient Egyptian, you would undoubtedly be aware of it. Have you given some thought to Boston?
Leticia, lowering her gaze and fidgeting with her fingers.
I am confused about it. I am a bit scared.
And you have every right to be. Such a momentous decision is a lot for a 13-year-old to handle. Living in a foreign country with unfamiliar people is something I understand all too well. I was 15 when I left Cuba for the United States. I did not have a choice and no one I could rely on once in this new environment. To some degree, our experiences are very similar. What's your parents' stance?
They're undecided. They talk a lot about it. On one hand, they see it as a once-in-a-lifetime chance for a brighter future. On the other hand, I am too young, they don't really know you, and I'm certain they're hesitant to let me go.
You're young, and naturally, your parents want to keep you close. But this is a significant step, one that requires a leap of faith. I have a granddaughter your age, and you're far more mature than she is. I'd never let her take on such a challenge, but I fully believe you can handle it, especially with my guidance.
The waiter sets down the food, offering the two women a moment to reflect as they eat.
I want to do it.
Elena, gently setting her cup on the table to minimize noise.
Of course, your parents should be part of this conversation.
One more thing. Why are you so keen on guiding me? You're making it sound as if something bad will happen if I don't join you.
I didn't mean to alarm you, but you deserve to know the whole picture. The ability you have is as much a burden as it is a gift. For the next few years, you'll grapple with an overwhelming influx of knowledge. You'll face challenges, mentally and emotionally. I've walked this path, I know the pitfalls. If you stay put, you could wind up in therapy, consulting someone who won't have the faintest idea of what you're going through. That's a risky route. But if you weather this storm, by your late teens, you'll be wiser and more intellectually and emotionally mature than almost anyone you know. Then, and only then, will you fully grasp what you really are, a woman of the world.
A heavy silence sets in. The waiter comes inquiring if they would like anything else. Elena replies by saying everything is fine, and just like in the park, despite the food being of average taste, there is nowhere she'd rather be. The tone of the conversation returns to light-hearted talk. Elena goes to pay for the meals. Once the transaction is completed, she uses both hands and bows, handing over an open 10 reals note.
Please accept this tip as a symbol of the good time we had in your noble establishment. And please forgive me if this act causes you offense.
Elena says, being well aware of Japanese etiquette. The waiter, bowing lower, replies,
It was a great honor to have you as customers in our humble restaurant. Your gift is amicably accepted.
With that, the duo leaves the place. Once out of sight, they both giggle. On the evening of the next day, Mr. Ferreira calls Elena to inform her that they have accepted her proposal. Elena is then invited to an early dinner the following day. The meal serves mostly as a formal occasion where all necessary topics are addressed. The ultimate decision is that Elena will become Leticia's legal guardian during her time in the United States. Leticia will enroll in high school and follow a standard curriculum, beginning her education in September after a few weeks of acclimation in the U.S. Should things not work out for any reason, Leticia will return to Brazil. The day after the dinner, Elena contacts the U.S. consulate in São Paulo to obtain information about the required procedures, which are expected to take about a month to process. Elena arranges an appointment for the following week. This provides her, Sumit, and the Ferreiras just enough time to compile all the necessary documents and forms. In light of these developments, Elena extends her stay in Brazil and offers an apology to the dean for the inconvenience, mentioning that she will engage in some unplanned research during this time.